I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. Why did Nazaria Harris leave behind so much evidence but nobody? But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer real quick. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm gonna have to let me take a commercial break, y'all. I'll be right back. I gotta take care of some business. Let me take a commercial break. I'll be right back.
I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out. I'd like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get a chicken box and a half a half. All right, good looking out. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. When I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright. Younger females like older men. So my smoothie is going to consist of
I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes. I'm switching lanes. A chicken box, a half and half when I'm switching lanes.
I'm coming, y'all. Give me a minute. All right. One more step and I'll be right here with y'all. Salute to my moderators. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. I see everybody down there. Salute everybody. Drop a one in the chat if y'all feel like with all of the evidence that's left around, why is there Nobody. How many of y'all feel like I feel? I feel like all this evidence that they have, and we're going to go over the DNA results, reveals critical clues from the blood stains in the court testimony. Well, where's the body? Where's the body? Whoever is responsible for Nazaya's death, why did they leave this critical evidence around? Have any of y'all thought about that? In my opinion, it's a lot of evidence. The DNA, for one. Give me a minute, everybody. I do apologize. I thought I had the right things loaded up, but all right, here we go. All right, here we go, y'all. I apologize. I will entertain the chat. Give me a minute. All right, let's get into the DNA test results and what it reveals.
What if recording high-quality content, editing like a pro, and streaming like a star was as simple as hit?
And I am in the biology unit, also known as BFI, which is body fluid identification.
And is that what you've done for the 4 years that you've been at MSP?
No, I've actually been at MSP longer than the 4 years. I'm sorry, it's been almost 4 years.
Okay.
But I've been with MSP for a little over 15 years now.
You've been in the lab for the last 4 years, or almost 4 years.
Correct.
Oh. And while your time in the lab, has that been spent on body fluid identification?
Correct.
And do you have any training or education that allows you to do that role in body fluid identification?
Yes, well, my education, I have a bachelor's in chemistry from Tennessee State University. And my training, I went through a body fluid identification scientist training, which included practice samples, mock samples, casework observations, lots of literature to read.
And how long, in terms of hours, was that training? Or
Let me just stop right there. Let me read from the chat real quick. Nisi says, can we get information on what the law determines they are unalive? I think that's a good question, Nisi. I think that's a good question. If anybody in the chat would like to answer Nisi's question, feel free to answer Nisi's question, or anybody on the replay gang, if y'all would like to answer Nisi's question, can we get information on what the law determines they are unalive? And I'll get back to you, Nisi, myself. Give me a minute.
how many training hours do you have in total for this body fluid identification job, if you know?
I'm not sure of the hours, but the training was from June of 21 to September of 22.
Okay, so quite a long training.
Yes,
And did you successfully complete that training?
yes.
And I'm going to take this question as well, because this is a good question as well, coming from Milky Way. Milky Way says, here's a question. It's been over a year and she's dead, according to Kim Worthless. Has anyone tried to get legal stuff done, like a death certificate, any life insurance? Those are excellent questions, Milky Way. Those are excellent questions. Maybe somebody in the family, you know, maybe they can answer that question. But that's a good question. Smart woman, brains, and beauty. In Michigan, unborn babies have legal protections. The state's Fetal Protection Act recognizes the rights of the unborn. particularly for viable fetus, and considers killing an unborn child. Exactly over in year. Milky Way, great question. Yes. I see you down there, Jamie. I see the chat. I see everybody.
And do you go through a recertification or retraining every year on an annual basis?
Not necessarily retraining, but we do have proficiency tests that we do. We have 2 a year that we do, and they are yearly and they are mandatory.
And have you successfully completed all of those proficiency tests?
Yes, sir.
And are you currently working in the body fluid identification field?
Yes.
And how many different cases have you worked on to identify different body fluids that were submitted from law enforcement agencies in the almost 4 years you've worked there?
I don't have an exact number, but at least 100.
Okay.
I can say that.
At this time, Judge, I would move to qualify, or have you testified as an expert previously?
Yes.
And both in Wayne County and outside of Wayne County?
Just Wayne County.
Just Wayne County?
Yes.
At this time, Judge, I would move to qualify Ms. Green as an expert in the field of body fluid identification.
Any objection?
I would just ask how many times she's testified previously
Previously, as a scientist, 2.
as an expert.
Yes.
How many?
2.
2. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm with you, Jennifer, and I think the majority of everyone is with Jennifer. So if Naziah is dead, then so is the baby. I'm assuming, so will he be charged with both deaths because they only got him for 1 homicide. Now, is the baby alive? Did she give birth to this baby? What's really good? Why isn't he charged with 2 homicides? Why only 1 homicide? And if so, if Naziah was able to give birth to the baby, where is the baby? Think it's like 1 year, no contact, no social media, positive test for blood and bodily fluids. Joe Clark, you probably need to get Nikki for those questions. I've only heard about 10 people being prosecuted on a no-body charge, doing a little research. I'm wondering the same. See, like you and Miss Parker figuring out more than the professionals are. Keep up the great work, Shank. Appreciate you, Blessing. Appreciate you. Circumstantial evidence. Courts often rely heavily on this, including blood evidence, DNA matching, witness testimony, last known whereabouts, evidence of violence or struggle. And it's like the person or persons that unalive Naziah, it's pretty much like they just handed over this evidence, and in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, whoever it is that unalive Naziah, they were thinking, whoever it is that unalive Naziah, they were thinking, get rid of the body, right? Now, along with them thinking to get rid of the body, they had to know for sure if we leave these clothing items, if we leave the blood on the clothing item in clear sight, I mean, don't y'all think that who's ever responsible would have had that much sense? We got to think like a criminal now. We got to think like this person or persons that took her life. They knew to get rid of the body. That's not the only thing that they knew. You just don't stop. You just don't stop at getting rid of the body. The body is evidence. So you just don't stop there. You make sure to get rid of as much evidence as possible. So why would those that is responsible, why would they leave this crucial evidence that's being revealed? And I'm going to let it run. Why would they leave that much evidence around? I'm not buying it, Rock Squad and Riders. I'm not buying it.
No, but-
Okay. Thank you. And first, can you describe what is meant by body fluid identification in general terms?
So body fluid identification is the examining evidence items for the possible presence of body fluids such as blood, semen, or saliva.
And do you use different tests to identify, let's talk about blood primarily.
Mhm.
Is there a test that you used in this case to identify or determine if blood is possibly present on a piece of evidence that was submitted?
Yes.
And what is that test, and talk a little bit about it, please? Or different tests?
So we can use different tests for blood in this instance. Primarily, there's a test called phenolphthalein. I can spell it if you need me to.
Please.
Okay. PHENOLPHTHALEIN. And we refer to it in the lab as pheno for short, if that's easier. But that is essentially a two-step test that we use. It's a color change test to where if there is a possible presence of blood, it will turn a pink color. If there is not, or it's like an undetectable amount, it will not change color, basically.
And is there another test that you use specifically for blood?
We also have what we call hemosticks available, which are essentially strips, little plastic strips with a pad on the end. That is also a color change test, but it's simpler to use. You touch it to a cutting of your evidence and it'll turn blue or it will not turn blue. And there's also a hemotrace test that we test for the presence of human blood.
Okay. And did you utilize those 3 tests that you talked about in this case?
Yes.
And in terms of the pheno test, can you just describe how that process works, what you actually have to do to utilize that test?
Yes. So again, it's a 2-step test where you have the pheno solution and you have hydrogen peroxide, which is the 2 components used. It's a 1-for-1, 1 drop, 1 drop. And you drop those onto the substrate, which is typically a cutting of a swab, or that's typically what it is, a cutting of a swab. You drop the 1, you drop the 2, and then it'll change to the pink color or it will not. If it changes to the pink, we refer to that as a positive.
Okay. And that's for the presence of, or possible presence.
Possible presence of blood, yes.
And then jumping forward a little bit, you described to determine whether there was human blood or not human blood.
Mhm.
We call that the hemotrace, I believe.
Correct.
What's the process for that?
So the hemotrace involves actually a small extraction of a cutting of a particular stain up in this. For example, a particular stain, you extract it in the buffer solution that comes in the hemotrace kit for a set amount of time. And once that is extracted, you spin it down, you take the liquid, you draw the liquid off with a pipette, and there's a cartridge test. And it's similar, we read it similar to like a COVID test where a set number of lines, like if the test line appears, then it's positive. If not, then it's negative.
May I approach Judge?
Yes.
Now, this is something that we all know. Appreciate that super sticker, Precious Metal. Appreciate that super sticker. This is something that we all know. We all know that the state of Michigan, along with other states, can charge you with the M word, even if there's nobody. So we're all clear on that. That's not our issue. Our issue is no longer, can they charge Jarvis or others and there's nobody? We all understand that law. Appreciate the super chat, Drea. Appreciate that super chat, Drea. But what we want to know is a couple questions. If Naziah was pregnant, what happened to the child? Did she give birth to the child? Because Jarvis is only charged with 1 count of the M. So where's that child at? Where's that baby at? Now, some things pertaining to the case, some things they can't disclose to us. However, there are things that they can disclose to us. Here's my thing. At the preliminary, right? And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but a preliminary hearing is to bring forth evidence. At that preliminary hearing, they're going to bring forth evidence. Now, they won't have all the evidence at the preliminary because, you know, that's the purpose of them investigating as far as the prosecutors. They will be able to find other witnesses, other evidence leading up to the actual trial. However, at that preliminary, in order for them to make those charges stick at that preliminary, they got to have some solid evidence to make them charges stick at that preliminary. You just can't come to the preliminary and say, okay, we do have evidence that's going to link this suspect to this crime, but we won't disclose it until trial. That's not how it works. That's not how this thing works. Let me jump to the chat real quick and I will jump back. They probably had to prove she was actually pregnant. Give me a minute, y'all. My allergy. Let me run, y'all. Let me run it quick.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as People's 41. And Ms. Green, do you recognize the document I just handed you?
Yes,
And is that a report that you authored that was relevant in this case?
yes.
And first, what record number are you looking at there in your report?
This is record 7.
And what is the lab number associated with that?
MD 24-691.
And permission to publish Exhibit 41.
Yes.
And on the screen there, are you able to see that from your seat?
Yes,
And is that the same document that you're holding in your hand that's on the screen?
that is the same document, yes.
Okay. And just talking about the information on the top of that document right now, what goes in where under laboratory report? What is entered into that portion of the document?
So under the laboratory report section, we have the number, the investigating officer for the case and their agency number, the record number, date received, time received, and the date completed.
Oh, and moving down to evidence reviewed, can you talk about what is listed in that section of these reports?
The evidence received section.
So there go the evidence, right? There go the evidence. Nisi says, in Michigan, the willful killing of an unborn child, an unborn quick child, a fetus that can move in the womb through injury to the mother is classified as manslaughter. So we got this black hoodie. This is what's in the evidence. A black hoodie, a pink bodysuit, a blood card. I believe that's the blood work. Drunk door handle swabs. Trunk speaker. So the black hoodie and the pink bodysuit. Why was that left behind? Why did they leave that behind? And it's just my opinion. Just my opinion. They would have known. They would have known. Dana says, can a 14-year-old survive? Let me come right here, y'all. Is this baby dead or alive? This lady talking blood work, right? Can a 14-year-old survive having a baby taken out of her with no anesthesia, and would the baby be a preemie, not fully developed? I guess check warehouses, black market. Salute, New York City girl. There is no actual proof that she was pregnant if a medical diagnosis hadn't been given. I agree with you, Miss Love. I agree with you. I do agree with you. Where is proof of this baby? Now, I do know when I had Mimi up on the panel, Mimi did say that, well, when Naziah was in the fight with that girl, with that little girl, and the police report, police made Naziah take out the police report, filed charges on that girl because Naziah was pregnant. Now, do that mean, is that proof enough? Is that, what do y'all think? Is that good enough proof? If they have a crooked pastor, there may be a crooked nurse or doctor around. Exactly. Because of Shannon and Jarvis trying to throw the search team off. And that's a good point. That's a good point. Shannon, you just sit. We know you helped. Michigan law does not explicitly use the term, the M word, in relation to an unborn child. Causing the death of a viable fetus can lead to serious criminal charges, including manslaughter. I seen you trying to roast me too, Top Flight. I shouldn't read your comment since you want to try to get your roast on, Top Flight. Top Flight says, Capricorn, I understand, but don't the blood need to be fresh? I'm thinking blood card just tells me the blood type. That's all, because some people have the same blood type. So if it's a third person and I'm coming, y'all. Salute, Michelle. I can't understand how you can hide a body so well, but couldn't hide a hoodie. That's my point, Precious. That's my point. They went through the necessary steps to hide the body, but the hoodie, the pink bodysuit, nah. Violations of the Fetal Protection Act, depending on the circumstances. Match her saying blood. How come it can't just be they blood and not others? Don't want to sound stupid, but can the DNA or blood tell? Not sure, Coco. Not sure. Salute, Candy. Salute, Candy. Two things people fail to realize in life. You can't hide from God and yourself. Now, that's facts, Cecilia. That's facts. Well, Kim Worthy said she has evidence that proves Jarvis and no one else is the father. Sounds like a baby DNA test to me. Now, let's stay on Kim Worthy. Now, Kim Worthy mentioned some things. Kim Worthy, we know, was linked to Baby Oil Man, right? With one of Baby Oil Man's case. But y'all remember, in the very beginning of the Baby Oil Man's case, way before they brought Baby Oil Man to trial, the government in the United States had it like they had all this concrete evidence on Baby Oil Man. How many of y'all remember that? Remember the Homeland Security raided Baby Oil Man's property. I mean, we really, well, I don't know about y'all, but I really knew they got some ish on Baby Oil Man. They getting ready to take Baby Oil Man down. A week. It's been a week in the Baby Oil Man's trial. And all we've heard as far as evidence, all we heard was how much of a freak Baby Oil Man was. That's it. The government don't got no hard evidence on Baby Oil Man. Drop a 3 in the chat. Drop a 3 in the chat if y'all feel like the government got some solid evidence on Baby Oil Man. Drop a 4 if y'all feel like me. Only thing the government got on Baby Oil Man is how much of a freak he was. And it's the same thing, in my opinion. It's the same thing with Kim Worthy in this case with Jarvis Butts. She telling you, we got this evidence. Woody woo 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 woo. But I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Where's this evidence at? And in my opinion, we're going to go through the same thing in this Jarvis Butts trial that we went through in the Baby Oil Man's trial. The only thing that the state of Michigan is going to focus in on when it comes to Jarvis Butts is that he is a serial child, you know what. That's going to be the whole angle. And they're going to drive this case. They're going to drive this case home because they're going to try to convince everybody that just because Jarvis was sexually inappropriate touching Naziah and he Googled the antifreeze, they're going to try to win their case off of that. Mark my word. Mark my word. It's going to be just like the Baby Oil Man case. Like even the reporters, even the judge is getting tired of hearing about these freak-offs. They got Baby Oil Man charged with RICO, racketeering, right? That's what they created to bring down the mafia back in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. The RICO, Big U. They got Big U on RICO, right? Big Meech. They had Big Meech on RICO. Where is Baby Oil Man's co-defendants at? If it's a RICO, who else conspired with him? Why is Baby Oil Man the only one that's on trial if it's a RICO case? Right? Where are the other victims at? Why Cassie is the only victim? So now we're going to come to the Naziah Harris case. Same thing. Where's the body at? Where's the baby at? Go back to the evidence that Kim Worthy brought. See, in that preliminary, they have to bring solid evidence. They had to bring evidence to link this person to that crime. What's the evidence that links Jarvis Butts to the unaliving of Naziah Harris? The only thing is in Jarvis Google search engine that he was Googling antifreeze and he was Googling abortions. That's it. That's it. Now, when it comes to the antifreeze, he's a mechanic. He works in a garage. He fixes on cars. What's your probable cause for Googling antifreeze? I work on cars. Right? Well, why was you Googling abortions? Well, one of my girlfriends came up pregnant. Or I found out that she was pregnant. And, you know, we all decided. Or it's all kind of ways that this can turn out when it comes to trial. It's not, and look, check this out. Y'all funky asses can start throwing all the shit at me if y'all want to. Oh, Shank, there you go. You on that bullshit, Shank. And I'm going to throw some shit right back at y'all. I'm just keeping it 100 when it comes to the case. That's all. See, Shank, you on that bullshit. You trying to give Jarvis's defense team, you trying to give them a way out so Jarvis can beat the case. I ain't trying to give them a way out. I'm sure that they already know this. I'm sure of that. He looked up Anna Freeze. He looked up, can Anna Freeze terminate a pregnancy? Okay. Will that stick? Will that stick? Because just because he looked it up. Now, it just depends on his defense team. It depends on his defense team. If he got a weak defense team, the defense team ain't gonna know nothing, ain't gonna be able to do nothing with that. You know, let's go back to O.J. Simpson. Drop a six. If y'all remember the O.J. Simpson trial. Who remember the O.J. Simpson trial? Rest in peace, O.J. Simpson. Now, if you was around during the O.J. Simpson trial, let's call a spade a spade. We know O.J. was guilty. We know O.J. was guilty. But O.J. had a serious attorney by the name of Johnny Cochran. And what did Johnny Cochran use? He used the glove. If it don't fit, right? But just because the glove didn't fit, don't necessarily mean he didn't do it. See, everything is based on the defense team. It's the defense team. And in this case, to me, the Detroit Police Department dropped the ball. The department, CPS dropped the ball. The school dropped the ball. Members of the family dropped the ball. All these different people, all these different organizations dropped the ball. And the school, along with Miss Annette, they really dropped the ball when it went, the Nazaria Harris investigation, it went a whole month. That's 30 days. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But it went 30 days. Nazaria Harris was missing for 30 days, correct? Before the DPD picked it up. Before the Detroit Police Department picked it up. That's 30 days. 30 days before the proper investigation took place.
Yeah.
Yes. So these are the containers that I received under this record number for this submission.
And when you say container, what do you mean by that?
The container numbers on the left side there, can you hear me okay when I turn this way? Okay.
Yeah.
The container numbers on the left are the container numbers that are given to the item when it's submitted into our laboratory.
And are those numbers, the container numbers, assigned by the law enforcement agency that submitted it or by the MSP lab yourself?
The container numbers are assigned by us, and when it's entered in our system, it gives it a sequential number.
And in terms of the agency number, though, is that also included in the evidence review?
The agency number is what the item numbers that the agency gives in their internal system, but we include it in our description.
And for container number 5, first, what was in container number 5?
Container number 5 is the black hoodie, sweatshirt style.
And what agency number was included for that submission?
Number 85.
And then in container number 6, what was in container number 6, the physical piece of evidence?
Was a pink bodysuit.
And what agency number was that associated with from Detroit Police Department?
Number 86.
Okay. And we're going to talk mainly about those two, but I do want to go through your interpretations. First, can we talk about what goes into the interpretations section of your report?
And before I get into her interpretation, let me read Shay Starr's comment. Shay Starr says, it's called reasonable doubt, which I believe they are going to be able to prove in Jarvis' case. I hope not.
So in the interpretation section, this is where we report out our results for our body fluid testing.
Okay, and you talked about blood.
Mhm.
Did you do a blood test on the first item that we're looking at here, the black hoodie?
Yes,
And did you also test for semen as well?
yes.
And starting with the test for semen, what is that test called?
The test that I did was the acid phosphatase test.
And was there any, what was the result of that test?
It was negative.
Did not indicate the presence of semen on that black hoodie?
Correct.
And then moving down now to your next test here, what was the result? First, what was the next test that you did for?
The next test after this one that I did would be the phenol test. The way that it's listed here is not necessarily the order of the testing that I did. Is how, for some reason, that's how our reports generate the report. So, but the next test I would have done on this would have been the phenol or phenolphthalein test.
And is that a blood, you described that as a blood test, correct?
Yes, presumptive blood test.
And for the pheno test, what was your result of that test?
So there were areas that were not phenopositive and there were areas that were phenopositive.
Okay. And can you talk about that a little bit more when you say areas that were positive and not positive?
Sure. So I selected several areas on the entire surface of the hoodie, from the hood all the way to the sleeves, front and back, to test for the possible presence of blood. And I tested numerous stains. Not all of those stains were positive, meaning they didn't all exhibit a color change.
Okay. But some of them did.
Some of them did.
If you know how many did and how many didn't.
I
Or
wouldn't know.
With looking at photos of that, be able to help you answer that question.
Looking at photos, yes, it was a lot.
Okay, we will come back to that.
Okay.
Going down to after the pheno test, what was the next test that you did?
On the hoodie, it would actually be, yes.
Let's just go down the list of the
Okay.
tests, if that's okay,
Yep.
as they're listed on here. So after the acid phosphate test, what's the next one there?
The next one will be the hemotrace test, which I did on the stains that were phenopositive. I decided to follow those up with hemotrace to test for the presence of human blood.
Okay. And pheno test doesn't differentiate between human and animal blood, correct?
No.
That's what the hemotrace is for.
The hemotrace will tell us, yes.
Sorry. And what was the result of the hemotrace test on the areas that were positive on the pheno test?
So I tested 5 areas with hemotrace, 5 of the phenopositive stains. And 3 of the stains on this hoodie were hemotrace positive.
Now,
And let me just say this. Let me read Olivia's. Olivia says, keep in mind, they have lots of evidence, video evidence, etc., that we don't know about. Going for first degree means that they have a lot of evidence. Now, this is what I can say now. And I don't know if any of y'all have been in situations when y'all had trial court. I know for me, I can only speak for me. I've had some cases where as though the prosecutor, they said they had this. They said they had that. You know, and when it was time to go to trial, right before I went to trial, same way the government is doing P. Diddy, keep in mind, all this evidence that the government say they have on P. Diddy, now what did they do before the trial start? They came at P. Diddy with a 5-year cop-out agreement. See, the DA, the prosecutors, they are known for this. This is strategy. They are known for using this kind of strategy. They'll make you think. They'll make you think that they got this. They'll make you think that they got that. They'll make you think that they got all this hardcore evidence against you to get you to cop a plea. Damn, man. They saying they got this. They saying they got that. That's why it's going to depend on Jarvis's defense team, and it's going to depend on Jarvis. Sometimes you got to call a bluff. All that they said that they had on Baby Oil Man. Right before trial, they came at Baby Oil Man with a 5-year sentence. His minimum is more than 5 years. Baby Oil's minimum is, I believe, 15 or 20 years. The max is life. So if the government has all this evidence, if they got all this evidence on Baby Oil Man, why not come at Baby Oil Man with the minimum, 15 or 20? Why did they come at him with 5? I promise y'all, right before trial, the state of Michigan is going to offer Jarvis a plea, and they're going to add in there for Jarvis to take the plea if Jarvis comes up off of some vital information. Shay says, Shank, I wish I could have caught Miss Parker alive, but she right about Ken worthless. 11 Detroit and had major experience with the DPD, says she's taking office, shaking my exactly. And I don't mean to skip no comments, y'all. If they didn't have concrete evidence, they would go for manslaughter. That's not true, Olivia B. That's not true. We got to keep in mind what's at stake in this Nazaria Harris case. Let's go back. Remember when they asked the lead investigator, the lady that was reading the text messages, remember they asked her about the sex trafficking ring. Was she aware of this sex trafficking ring? See, they want Jarvis, but they want bigger fishes. They know that it's more people involved. They know just like we know. We ain't the only ones know that it's bigger than Jarvis. When it comes time for Jarvis to stand trial, it might happen at this next hearing that's coming up this month coming up. It might happen then. I'm not sure. They might come at him with a plea. I'm not sure. But they know that Jarvis ain't the big fish. Jarvis is a small fish in this sex trafficking ring. But this is how they play. This is they get down. This is their strategy. We got this, we got that. If we can point out different things in this case, you don't think that the defense team don't have a strategy as well? They don't have a body. Yeah, we got video. Yeah, but anything could be on the video. You know, she already told us 2 different things. She said that Jarvis is the only one that's going to be charged with all of this. But then she said other people is going to be charged as well. Which one, Kim Worthy? I'm just asking. Which one? Is Jarvis the only one going to be charged? Or is others going to be charged? Kim Worthy's words.
Now, the next listed one is the hemostix test, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that test for? What was the reason you administered that test?
I did that one on the stains that were not as obvious. Sometimes you might get a weak phenopause, which is basically a very faint pink. And to kind of supplement the positive result to make sure I was seeing what I was seeing, I followed up with the hemostix because sometimes it's easier to see. The hemostix has a yellow pad and it changes to like a deep blue when you apply the sample to it. So that's what I followed up.
As it's listed here, the hemostix test was positive, correct?
For the ones that I tested, yes.
For the ones that you tested.
Mm-hmm.
which, to be clear for the record, was not all of them.
Correct.
And you said that you tested the weak positives from the pheno,
Yes.
and did you only test weak positives from the pheno test?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, yes.
Now, going down to the next page on record number 7 here, there's a line there at the top of the page. Can you read that line and tell us what it means?
All right, here go another comment that I'm going to address. Hey Girl says, and the clothes don't match from the video to the woods. How many of y'all agree with that? And a lot of people in that video that's supposedly be Naziah, a lot of people say that that's not even Naziah. Yes, no, maybe. I've seen it and I've heard, and it really don't look like Naziah. He gonna start singing like Tory. I have been saying from the beginning that he is going to start singing like a bird real soon. You know that, and that's going to be part of his strategy as well as the prosecutors. You know. It doesn't look like her. That might be Shannon's daughter.
Or the paragraph at the top there.
Where it says, where it starts indicated?
Yeah.
Okay. So indicated the presence of human blood. Additional areas on this item were tested that did not indicate the presence of blood and or human blood. Additional areas on this item were tested that indicated the possible presence of blood.
And what does that mean, and why did you include that in the report? And why is that included in the report?
That sums up the results from page 1 for the Hemotrace, Hemostix, and Pheno. The first sentence indicated the presence of human blood applies to the Hemotrace positive. Additional areas on this item were tested that did not indicate the presence of blood and or human blood. That was for the Hemotrace, the ones that were not positive with Hemotrace. Additional areas on this item were tested that indicated the possible presence of blood were for the Pheno tested stains.
And in terms of after you conducted your test on the black hoodie, or your tests on the black hoodie, did you do anything to preserve more swabs for further testing by a DNA analysis?
After I did my testing, I went back and I selected 2 stains to send forward to DNA. So I swabbed those areas with 2 sterile swabs and cut those. Once they were dry, you have to wet the swab first. Of course, swab the stain, let it dry, and then the swabs were cut and tubed and sent forward to our DNA lab.
And what was the reason you didn't use the same swabs that you had already taken and tested with the Pheno and Hemostix and Hemotrace?
So with the hoodie swabs that I sent forward, there was enough of the stain there to where I wasn't concerned really with total consumption of that stain. So I didn't use the tested swab. I used fresh swabs to swab that stain.
And
Salute, Ms. Parker. Now, in my opinion, when it comes to Jarvis, and it's just my opinion, when it comes to Jarvis, they are definitely going to be able to get Jarvis with the sexual, inappropriate touching. In my opinion, they got him on that. They got him on that from the evidence that they presented. They definitely got him on that. But when it comes to the unaliving, I don't think they got him on the unaliving. And the reason why I don't think that they got him on the unaliving is because I don't think that Jarvis unalived Naziah. I don't. I could be wrong. I don't think he unalived her. And I don't think that they got anything on him when it comes to unaliving her. Why they didn't show camera, date and time on that Ring camera or whatever kind of camera it was, it showed all that info, or is that going to be shown in trial? Good question. Good question.
after you send those forward for analysis by another technician, are those individual swabs that you send forward given an identifying number to keep track of them in your chain of custody system?
Yes.
Okay. May I approach, Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with what's already been admitted as record number, or as admitted as 25, which is record number 8, testified to by Erica Anderson. Just looking at that report, Ms. Green, are your swabs that you sent forward listed on record number 8?
Yes, they are.
Just as it relates to item number or container number 5.
Yes.
And can you read the agent or the container number associated with the swabs you sent forward for item number 5 off of record number 8?
Okay. The container number or the item number?
Both.
Okay. The item number on here for item 5 would be MD 24-691-5 capital A lower D. Another set of swabs sent forward is MD 24-691-5 capital B lower D, and MD 24-691-5 capital C lower D.
And the first two ending in AD and BD are listed as black hoodie stain swabs, correct?
Correct.
And then CD is listed as a black hoodie swab.
Correct.
And what's the difference between those two things where you have stain swab and then just swab?
The AD and BD that are referred to as black hoodie stain swabs were swabs of the actual staining that I tested in that test, the pheno test and hemotrace. The 5 CD, which just says black hoodie swabs, are for wearer ID. That would be swabbing with 2 sterile wet swabs, the neck area, anywhere that would contact where the wearer of the potential wearer of the garment may have contacted, like the neck or sleeve, cuffs. Yeah.
And those are the swab, so just swab that you sent forward was to identify who was likely wearing that sweater, correct?
Correct.
I think Alma mentioned whether or not was it animal blood. How many of y'all think it was, because it could have been animal blood? Ms. Parker, appreciate that super chat, Ms. Parker. Please don't forget to hit that like button as you come in, turn on your notifications. Salute Mushy. There's so much high technology. Why are they not a blur and shunt that video? Because it's not Nazaya. Like I said, a lot of people don't think that that's Nazaya. I missed it. Okay. Virtuous Lange said, I don't need the shank, right?
And then the stain swabs, were those swabs from areas that were tested positive for the pheno test and the hemotrace test?
Correct.
Oh. Now, going back to the exhibit that's on the screen, you did a test for a pink bodysuit as well, correct?
Yes.
And can you tell us the first test that's listed in your report and what that means?
The first test for the pink bodysuit, item 6, is acid phosphatase again.
And that's for semen, correct?
Correct.
And what was the result of that test?
Negative.
And then going down to the next test, I believe it's the pheno test.
Mm-hmm.
What was the result of the pheno test on the pink bodysuit?
There were areas that were negative for pheno, and then there was an area that was positive.
Okay. And did you do any further testing on the area that was positive?
This one, I did not do any further testing on the positive area. I just swabbed that and I sent that forward.
And what was the reason you didn't go further into the hemotrace or hemostasis test?
Because it was such a small area, I was worried about sample consumption in my testing. And so I just sent, in this case, I did send the tested swab as well as an additional sterile swab of that same area to DNA.
And just to get that out of the way, are those listed on record number 8 that you have as well?
Yes, they are.
And which ones are listed there?
The pink bodysuit stain swabs would be MD 24-691-6 capital A lower D. And the pink bodysuit swabs would be MD 24-691-6 capital B lower D.
And those were sent forward for further analysis by someone else, correct?
Correct.
Appreciate that super chat, Mushy. Appreciate that super sticker, Mushy.
Going back, the regular swab, not the stain swab for item or container 6 that you sent forward. That was the same thing as the wearer ID that you talked about earlier.
For the wear ID, it was the same process as the hoodie. I used 2 sterile swabs, swabbed the neck area. And because it was like a sleeveless item, I swabbed the around where the arms would be in constant contact and the ankle cuffs. I think I said all the neck area as well, the collar area.
And going down a little bit more quickly to item 7 now. First, what was that item that you processed?
This was, item 7 was a blood card that was submitted as a reference sample for Naziah Harris.
Okay, and what did you do with that swab in terms of processing and passing it, or sending it forward for further testing?
So no testing was done on this as it is a known sample. It was a blood card, so I cut a portion of one of the blood circles on there and sent it forward to DNA.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Struggling with complicated content and editing software? I was too. Riverside really simplified things.
And may I approach that to retrieve those materials?
Yes.
Appreciate that super sticker, Shay.
And in terms of those 2 items, the pink bodysuit and the black hoodie, did you take photos of your testing as it proceeded?
Yes.
And did you provide those to the OIC of this case as well as the prosecutor's office? Or were they provided?
They were provided, not by me.
Okay. And referencing the pink bodysuit specifically, the photos you took, do those fairly and accurately depict what you were doing and what you saw as your testing proceeded?
Yes, I take pictures before, as I receive the item fresh out of the package, I lay it out to get a full picture of the item. And I take photos after I mark it up with like my testing results and, at the end.
And that's all put into a PowerPoint, correct?
Correct.
And that PowerPoint would fairly and accurately depict your observations as you move forward in testing?
Yes.
I would at this time move to admit People's proposed 64, the PowerPoint for the pink bodysuit,
No objection. It'll be a minute. People 64.
and permission to publish.
Yes.
Everybody want to know, where is Naziah Harris? Everybody want to know, if she's deceased, where is her body? Where is her remains? What happened to Naziah Harris?
And just on the first slide here, first photo, is this just a cover sheet for the item that you did?
Yes.
Going to the second slide or second photo, can you just tell us what we're looking at here on this slide?
All right, now we getting somewhere. Appreciate that super chat, Nene. Just sending support to y'all. Now we getting somewhere. This is the bodysuit. All right.
So this slide in particular, I take pictures of the front and back of the exterior. If it's a clothing item, front and back of the exterior. And in this case, front and back of the interior, which is on a further slide. But this here, the top left picture is the front exterior as if it was worn. So that would be, if you were looking at the person wearing it, that would be the front. And the bottom right picture is a close-up of the top half.
And if we could go to slide 10. And we're looking at the 10th slide, starting with the top left. Can you tell us what we're looking at there and what is listed underneath that top left photo?
The top left is the front exterior again, as if worn, and this was after testing, after pheno testing. And the one on the bottom right is a closer look at the top portion, I guess from like shoulder to torso of the garment.
And you have some words inputted on the top right, indicating that there was pheno negative testing on this portion of it.
Yes, that was the key to, so when the viewers such as yourself would look at this photo and see the pH-N, that's our way of saying this was a negative stain and keeping track of the stains that I did test. So the pH-N means pheno negative.
Okay. And can we go to slide 20? Okay. sorry, one back. And I want to focus on the bottom right photo here. What are we looking at in the bottom right of the 19th slide in the PowerPoint?
The bottom right photo is where the positive phenol stain was located. This would be the interior back portion of the item. So like inside here, I don't know if you can see, but like it will be interior inside I flipped it inside out to test those stains.
Okay, so what we're looking at here in the bottom right, that's inside out. So that's why we can see what would be the tag.
The tag, correct, yes.
And now could we go to slide 20? And this says on here, PH-POS, does that stand for positive?
Positive, yes.
Okay. And so that area on the inside of if it was inside out, that area tested positive for the
Correct.
possible presence of blood.
Correct.
Okay.
Drop a one if y'all agree with Jonte. Jonte says Shannon and Jarvis, no, I don't care what no one says. She the only person that doesn't want to do an interview. Drop a 2 if you disagree with Jonte. Drop a 1 if you agree with her. Drop a 2 if you disagree.
And did you do the same sort of PowerPoint for the black hoodie that we tested or that we talked about earlier as well?
Yes, I did.
And do those pictures that you took, were they put into a PowerPoint similar to this one?
Yes.
And do those pictures in the PowerPoint fairly and accurately depict your observations as you're testing move forward of the black hoodie?
Yes.
Move to admit people's proposed. People's proposed 44, so we got a little mixed up with the numbers.
No objection.
It'll be a minute.
And permission to publish.
Yes.
We only had one that disagrees. So I only see 1, 2 down there. So only one person disagreed.
And looking at the first slide of 44 that's on the screen, can you tell us this is just the same cover page?
Correct.
And going to the second slide here, what are we looking at here in this photo?
This will be the front of the black hoodie if worn.
And this is before any testing had been done?
Yes.
I want to go forward to slide 7. And what are we looking at here on slide 7 of this PowerPoint exhibit?
This is the hood area of the external portion, the external hood portion of the hoodie. I was trying to get accurate angles. That's why so many pictures, but
Okay. And is this again just standard overview before any testing had been done?
yes.
And if we can go to slide 8. And what are we looking at here?
This is the interior portion that would be in contact. Like if you pulled the hood over your head, it would be the area up here.
So you're looking at the inside of the hood that would
Interior.
touch the person's head that wore
Yes.
it. And slide 9. What in this photo are we looking at here, and has any testing been done at this point?
This is after testing. This is back to the front of the hoodie, plus obviously the sleeves. This is after ALS screening, which is alternate light source, which is used for screening for body fluids such as semen and saliva. I ALS the hoodie, and I marked those areas that had a fluorescence to them with a silver Sharpie, so I could further test after done screening. And IR, which is the infrared, is similar to, it's also an alternate light source, but it's more so for blood on dark items where the dark fabric would become lighter. And if there's blood or possible blood present, it would appear darker. That anything that I saw, I marked with a yellow paint pen with IR next to it, so I can distinguish between the ALS samples, the ALS areas that I saw and the IR areas that I saw.
How many of y'all agree with D? D says, I believe Annette is the bigger mastermind. She slept too well through it. And Shannon asked, should she call the cops? Annette said, wait till the morning. Now that's facts. That's facts right there. Drop a 7 if you agree with D. Drop a 8 if you disagree. Shannon did ask, should she call the cops? Annette said, wait till the morning. Drop a 7 if you agree with D. Drop a 8 if you disagree.
Okay, and we see a lot of markings on this, the front of this hoodie.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us, and I know you said the color, but what portion of this is the IR versus the ALS? It may be easier for you to step down a little bit.
Yeah. So the ones that I observed with IR, I actually wrote IR next to them. I don't know if that's visible on there, given how small the picture is, but other photos, I took pictures of
Closer
certain
up.
areas. Yeah.
And if we could just go to the next, or if you could zoom in. And so,
See, for me, y'all, and I dropped the link. If anybody would like to join me on the panel and chop it up about all this evidence that those that is responsible for Naziah's death left. So come on up, click the link if y'all want to come up and chop it up with me. It's just too much evidence for me, y'all. It's too much for nobody. And they went through whatever necessary steps that they went through to get rid of that body. But why did they leave this crucial evidence around?
so for example, that on the front, as we're looking at it, left side of the zipper, that's where IR illuminated?
Correct. Where there's like where the icon, the hand, it moved right there. And there's an arrow pointing to that large area. Like those were areas that dropped out under IR. So I put IR next to it so I'll know what to follow up and how to follow up.
And that IR is to indicate blood, correct? It's not a test for blood, but it's
It's a screening tool used to locate dark stains that may be possible blood.
okay. And if we could go to slide 20. And this is a closer view. Is this after you've done any other testing other than the light screenings?
Yes.
Okay, what testing was done at this point based on this photo?
This is after the pheno testing was done. This particular picture is reflecting a phenopositive area. And it was also screened with IR. As you can see right over the swabs there, it says IR. And that's what led me to follow up with pheno, was because I saw it under IR and it was phenopositive.
And where is this, if you're able to say, on that hoodie?
So this would be, if I was wearing it, it would be in this area, the upper shoulder,
And for
bicep
the
area.
record,
Yes.
for the record, the witness indicated to her right upper shoulder. Yeah, right. Yeah. Hold on. You said shoulder. Are you saying that this picture was taken from the right shoulder area of the hoodie?
Correct. Like I had to move the sleeve a little bit to get it in the picture with the ruler and the swabs. And it's like this area here.
Okay.
I call it the shoulder area.
Next slide. We're going to look at slide 21. And again, can you tell us what we're looking at here? Then I'm going to ask you a couple follow-up questions.
So this is another phenopositive stain. This one is located on the rear of the sweatshirt, on the bottom right exterior of the sweatshirt.
And you had, in the last photo that we looked at, it said stain 20, and then this one says stain 28 in the text area of the slide. what is it? How do those stain numbers get assigned?
That is for my purposes, so I can keep track of how many stains I tested and what stains I tested. I know if I give it a number, it's just I start from number one and I just go. It's a tracking system for me, so I won't double test the stain, and because we report out the number of stains tested in our system, so that's for me to keep track of how many stains I tested.
And if you know, how many stains were identified on the black hood?
I can't recall offhand.
And going to slide 22. And what are we looking at here for this photo?
Those are the cartridges used in the HemaTrace test. As you can see, you read them per line. The first two only have the one line, that's the control line, which because there's no visible line in the testing area, it is a negative result. And the third through fifth cartridge have the double line, so those are considered positive results.
And that's for stains, the stain numbers are listed there, correct?
Correct.
And that's stain 20, 28, and 38 that were positive on the HemaTrace test?
Yes.
Going to slide 23. And what are we looking at here in this photo? And at what point in your testing was this photo taken?
This was after pheno testing and the AP testing, which was the semen testing. And I put the key there because these are for the results that I wrote on the sweatshirt. So my tech reviewer and whoever's reviewing the photo would know what those meant when they saw them on the sweatshirt.
And you would agree with me that the majority of this sweatshirt is covered in your markings, correct?
Yes.
And going to slide 32 now. What are we looking at here in this photo in the 32nd slide?
This is the exterior of the hood towards the back of the hood. If you were wearing it, it would be like the back right of the hood.
And what testing is indicated on the back of the hood?
This was viewed with IR, and it was screened with IR first, and then I followed up with pheno testing in this instance.
And what was the result of your pheno testing on this area of the sweater?
So stain 37, which is at where the tip of the ruler is at the bottom, that was a very weak positive for pheno, and 36, which is upper towards my typing there, that was also a pheno weak positive.
And did you do any further testing with this section of the hood because of the weak positive, if you remember?
I don't recall offhand.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that you sent new swabs or went back and took new swabs to send forward for DNA analysis, correct?
Correct.
Do you remember what stain swabs numbers you sent forward for that analysis?
On this one, it was stain 20, which was the shoulder stain, and stain 28, which was the one in the rear of the sweatshirt.
I have one moment.
Yes.
And I feel like Britt says we also have to think, if Naziah is alive, why wouldn't Jarvis simply say that and get his charge dropped? Who would face a life sentence for someone that's alive? Something telling me she didn't go home. She got picked up by somebody, Jarvis or one of his associates, or by Annette. Candy, Grandma probably asked Naziah if she got money from Jarvis with her money-hungry Timmel wig self. And Mr. Shank, we also got to remember, Annette's son is an officer, still thinking from every angle. That's true, Shari. That's true. Amber says, oh my God, What if she's alive, but not the baby? That's a good question, Amber. John Tate, yes, because they plotting on revenge with a blank mind. Or George Harris, since he worked at the school. White people don't live around. You destroy yourself. Black Wall Street did it, didn't they? That's what I'm saying. That part, Britt.
Is there both of those stains 20 and 28 that you sent forward were phenopositive and hemotrace positive, correct?
Correct.
There was a third one, I think it was 38, that was also hemotrace positive and phenopositive.
Yes.
What's the reason you only sent 2 of those 3 forward?
I sent one from a representative area, which was the one from here and the one in the back. The other one, is available to be tested in the future if necessary, but I selected 2 of the stronger phenopositive stains, and they were hemotrace positive stains. I sent those 2 because they were from 2 different areas on the sweatshirt.
Okay. And
before you move on, you said here, for the record, can you indicate where
Oh.
she was pointing to?
yeah, for the record, the witness indicated towards her right shoulder, and then the other area was from the back,
Where I can
Right
stand
side.
if you need.
No, I just want
Okay.
the record to be clear.
Okay.
from the lower back right.
Yes.
In terms of the testing that you did and your experience testing and doing blood screening and things like that, are you able to talk about the quantity of results that you saw on this sweater at all? In terms of there being 38 swabs, at least 38 swabs, is that normal in your experience that there'd be that much on there, or are you able to talk about that?
I'm not able to say because it varies from case to case.
Fair enough. And do you still have record number 8 up there? Or did I take it?
No, you took it back.
You indicated earlier that the 2 stain swabs that were sent forward were from stains 20 and 28, correct?
Correct.
And then going forward, they were labeled as ending in 5AD and 5BD.
Correct.
Are you able to tell which stain number corresponds to 5AD?
I would not be able to tell without looking at my notes.
With looking at your notes, refresh your memory?
Yes.
Then please do so, and then look back up at me when you're done.
When my doctor said I needed to eat healthier for my high blood pressure, I was at a loss until I found Hungry Root.
Appreciate that super chat, Chen. Chen says, who goes to sleep when a minor is out at night? Exactly. Exactly. In my opinion, Annette definitely, she's definitely involved. She knows what happened to Naziah. That's my opinion when it comes to Annette. She knows what happened. Because ain't nobody, grandmother, neighbor, relative, friend, nobody is going to go to sleep while a 13-year-old girl did not come home and hasn't been heard from. Nobody does that. Nobody doesn't notify the police. I ain't going to the school police. So now you got to wonder, what involvement did the school have in this? Because why didn't they notify the DPD, Detroit Police Department, immediately? 30 days went by, people. 30 days went by. Appreciate that super sticker, Walker. Chen says that proves she knows because she went to sleep. That's facts. That's facts. How many of y'all agree with Chin? Drop a 9 if y'all agree with Chin.
Is your memory fresh?
Yes,
What stain swab number that you gave it is 5AD?
5AD would be stain 20, which was the shoulder area stain.
And then 5BD would be 28,
Correct,
and that's the back right, lower back right side?
correct.
I have nothing further, Chris. Thank you.
Case 24604, excuse me, wrong case number. 2459617, the people of said Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. People just completed direct examination on the screen. And you can begin your process. You ready now?
Good afternoon, Ms. Green.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to start just by going over some of the things I think you testified to make sure that I'm clear on them.
Okay.
And so we'll start with the black hoodie, because that's where we started, I think, on direct. You tested a number of spots on the black hoodie. Well, I guess you started with the IR, you said, right? To determine if any of the spots you could see were potentially blood.
Potentially, yes.
Some of those spots could have been something like dirt, mud, anything else, right?
It's
That
possible.
could have created a color of a spot on the shirt or the hoodie, fair to say?
Fair to say, yes.
Okay. And so once you marked all of the spots that tested presumptively positive under, well, I guess you started with the ALS, that was your screening. you said,
Correct.
Right, and then you went from there to the IR.
Correct,
And then from there you went to the phenolphthalein.
correct.
Okay. And so of all the spots that you tested, there were 3 that were positive for blood, you said, correct?
On the black hoodie.
On the black hoodie.
There were multiple that tested positive, but I focused on the ones that had a stronger pheno positive were the ones that I focused on.
Okay, and you said you didn't do any confirmatory testing on the ones that tested weak, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you said of all of those, you sent 2 for testing for DNA.
Yes,
And then moving on to the pink jumpsuit, again, you tested a number of spots on the jumpsuit for phenolphthalein,
correct.
for blood, presence of blood, correct?
Possible presence, yes.
And it, based on my review of the pictures, it looks like there was at least 10 spots that you tested. Is that fair to say?
There was at least 10 on the pink jumpsuit, yes.
I think I saw a number like 16, and I don't know if that's where it ended but that seems fair, between 10 and 20 maybe.
Possibly more, but yes. at
Okay.
least.
And was there only one spot on the jumpsuit that tested, that you confirmed for blood?
Well, it wasn't, it was tested with pheno, which is the possible presence of blood. I didn't do the hemotrace to confirm that it was human blood because of the limited amount of sample. But yes, it was the one
There
spot.
was one.
Yes,
And it was a small enough stain that you were concerned of that you would consume it if you tried to do any additional testing.
yes,
Okay, and that's we're talking about, just for clarification, the spot on the actual jumpsuit, right? The spot that you were swabbing was small.
correct.
Okay. And you don't know what all the other areas on the jumpsuit were that you tested that had different colors on them?
As far as what they were,
What the substance was?
no, I couldn't tell.
You were also given a number of other samples of things to test. Is that correct?
Correct.
I think you tested some trunk carpet,
Yes,
and you tested that for with phenolphthalein, correct?
correct.
And that was negative.
Yes,
You tested a driver's floor mat
Yes,
from a vehicle.
yes,
You tested that for blood, presence of blood
yes,
using the phenolphthalein,
correct,
and that was negative.
correct.
You tested a driver's seat, cutting from a driver's seat.
Yes,
And that's also from a vehicle, presumably.
yes,
Okay. That was also negative.
correct.
And then there's a sample that was taken from, it says trunk trim. Did you swab the trim yourself, or was it a swab that was given to you to test? Do you recall?
I did receive a large plastic piece from a trunk trim that I did test, yes.
Okay. And so you tested that also for phenolphthalein, or with phenolphthalein
With
for the
it,
presence
yes.
of blood, sorry.
Correct,
And that tested negative.
correct.
Okay. So of all the things that you tested from, do you know if they were all from the same vehicle?
I received parts from what was labeled on the packages from 2 different vehicles on different submissions.
Okay. Do you know what type of vehicles they were?
One was listed on the submission form as a Cadillac Escalade, and there was another one, it was a vehicle, a Nissan Sentra, if I'm recalling correctly.
Okay.
Do you know what's really fun? Making a website on Wix.
Hey, where?
And so on a separate vehicle, you were given some, well, looks like maybe you were given actual door handles to swab. Does that seem correct?
I didn't receive any door handles, I received swabs of
Of a door
certain
handle?
parts of vehicles, yes.
Okay, and that was from a vehicle.
Yes,
Okay. And you tested that for blood, correct?
correct,
And you used the phenolphthalein test,
correct,
and also it looks like you did the hemostix test on that,
correct.
and both were negative. for
Both were
blood.
negative, yes,
Okay. You were also given some swabs from a trunk speaker,
yes,
and you did the same 2 tests on that, correct?
yes,
And those were also negative for blood.
yes,
And then it looks like you had another trunk door frame swab.
yes,
And were you just given a swab? You weren't given like the door yourself?
Correct.
Okay. And you tested that with both the hemostix and the phenolphthalein,
correct,
and those were both negative?
yes.
Appreciate that super sticker, Sharita.
And I just kind of want to talk, I guess, generally about the presence of blood, or lack of presence of blood. Blood doesn't necessarily disappear, or the presence of blood doesn't necessarily disappear just because you clean something, fair to say?
It's possible.
And it's possible that it would not test positive for blood, but it also, something that had been cleaned could also test positive for blood still, even if I don't see it.
Correct,
So for example, if I cut my finger with a knife and I get blood on the floor, wipe it with a Clorox wipe, somebody could still test that for blood and potentially see evidence of blood having been there.
potentially, yes,
I mean, there's tools like luminol that can detect blood, correct?
correct,
And I think you used that in one of your other tests in this case, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, so it is used, right?
yes,
Okay. Blue Star is another tool that can be used to detect blood if there's an assumption or presumption that it's been cleaned, fair to say?
it is. We don't use Blue Star though.
You use
Yes.
luminol instead?
Correct.
Okay. You don't have a test that can timestamp the presence of biological material, right?
We do not.
So you can't testify when blood is deposited, or presumptively blood is deposited on an item.
I cannot.
You also don't have a test for how it got there.
Correct.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else. Thank you.
Very briefly, Judge. Ms. Green, Ms. Quick just asked you about the samples that tested positive or presumptively positive of the phenolphthalein and the hemostix or hematries. You said you focused on the stronger ones. First, what do you mean by the stronger ones?
Depending on the amount of possible blood that's there, sometimes the reaction can be like a stronger pink or a faint pink, or it can be instant, like a blaring pink. It just depends on how much is there. And the ones that, like, I had some weak positives up there, but I also had the ones that were like instant bright pink. That's what I consider a stronger pink.
Okay. And those are the ones that you focused on to send forward for further DNA testing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And when you go through and do all of that work that you did in terms of the ALS, the IR, and then the pheno testing and the semen testing, what is the reason that you're doing that? Is it to get the best possible sample to go forward, or is it something else?
That is true, to get the best possible sample going forward. The one that we possibly have the most body fluid in it, we send forward for DNA. And in this case, I conducted semen testing as well as the blood testing, because when the clothing was submitted, the person that received the case and had case details, it was possible sexual assault listed on the lab request form.
So they saying it was it's possible. See, for me, it's not concrete. Appreciate that, Shay Star. Shay Star says Shank is the unidentified DNA Nazaya's baby. Is that why Shannon went and had DNA test on January 10th? Not sure of that. Appreciate being a new member, Vanessa. Appreciate that, Vanessa. Let me backtrack this, y'all. I'm glad I caught that. See, it's not. Let me backtrack before I speak on
DNA, and in this case, I conducted semen testing as well as the blood testing, because when the clothing was submitted, the person that received the case and had case details, it was possible sexual assault listed on the lab request form.
Okay, and so that's the reason you did the semen testing?
Correct.
Now, you did the semen test. Here we go. Whose semen was it? And I'll hold back. With everything that I'm hearing from her, Kim Worthy, from everything that I'm hearing, they got some serious evidence against Jarvis. I'm not going to take it away from them. However, when it comes time for trial, it better not be no baby oil man's trial. It better not be another baby oil man's trial. I don't want to hear nothing about no freak offs. I don't. We already know that Jarvis is a freak. We already know he's sick. We already know he's a sexual predator. We know that. We want to know, where is Nazaya? We want to know what happened to Nazaya. And we want to know, because according to Kim Worthy, they have video, right? We want to know what happened. We want to know more than what's in Jarvis's Google search engine. If y'all follow me, I'm going to backtrack it again. I'm going to backtrack this again. And I want to know in detail.
Ones that, like, I had some weak positives up there, but I also had the ones that were like instant bright pink. That's what I consider a stronger pink.
Okay. And those are the ones that you focused on to send forward for further DNA testing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And when you go through and do all of that work that you did in terms of the ALS, the IR, and then the pheno testing and the semen testing, what is the reason that you're doing that? Is it to get the best possible sample to go forward, or is it something else?
That is true, to get the best possible sample going forward. The one that we possibly have the most body fluid in it, we send forward for DNA. And in this case, I conducted semen testing as well as the blood testing, because when the clothing was submitted, the person that received the case and had case details, it was possible sexual assault listed on the lab request form.
Have you seen us? Says if they have semen, that means that they have baby girl. I agree. Now, with all of this, the DNA test results reveal critical clues from the blood stains. They had the hoodie. They got DNA. That means they got something. That means they got more than what's in Jarvis's search engine. They got more than what's in the text messages. They got more. So this is how this case should go down. The prosecutor, the state of Michigan, should not be the ones to come to the defense for the plea. And you're going to know if Jarvis take a plea, you're going to know whether or not the state of Michigan offered that plea agreement first, or Jarvis's defense team offered that plea agreement. If the state of Michigan offers a plea agreement, that's how you know they don't really got nothing on Jarvis. All this concrete, solid evidence that they talking that they got on Jarvis, they wouldn't come to Jarvis with a plea if they got that evidence. Now, if they got that evidence, Jarvis defense team will tell Jarvis, they got you. Ain't no way out unless you give up who they are looking for. Or do you got somebody that you could give up? Because with the evidence that they got on you, you ain't going to beat this. In return, Jarvis is going to listen to his defense team, and Jarvis is going to tell his defense, get a plea from me. Work out a plea with the state for me. Tell the state that I will plead to this, I will plead to that. Can they give me a good deal? I can give them this, I can give them that. We're going to find out, y'all. We're going to find out. I'm going to take a few comments, and then we're going to get out of here. And if I skipped over your comment, just put it back. Or get a super chat. Cecilia Jackson needs to be blocked. So, who's Cecilia? Moderators, take care of Cecilia Jackson. I don't know what's going on down there. If I got any moderators down there, get rid of Cecilia Jackson. I don't see no moderators. Let me backtrack and get Cecilia Jackson up out of here. Give me a minute. Let me get Cecilia up out of here. All right. Goodbye, Cecilia. Shay says they definitely has something, but with all of these different possibilities that's popping up, I also think they could prove reasonable doubt. That's a good point, Shay. That's a good point. Lady Leo says correct. And my opinion, and it's just my opinion, when it comes to the sexual things, and y'all know I can only say but so much. They got them. I do believe they got them. It's enough evidence to prove that he was sexually inappropriate touching her. I do believe that it was already a CPS case. What was it? 2022, I believe. It was already a CPS case on file from Naziah and another child. So they got him on that. Kiki, no, they wouldn't tell you. Cecilia, no need. I drop. I think there's a lot more. Whose semen is it? That's a good point, Tammy, because it could be anybody's semen. Anybody seen it? Oh, they got some evidence. Oh, we'll offer you a plea. They got something on him. I just can't wait to see the other arrest that Kim Worthless said is going to happen. Was it actual semen or a semen stain? Good question, Patricia. And let me backtrack. The plea agreement will only be based on child pedophile, but won't grant him. I didn't think about that. Most definitely makes sense, though. A deal on pedophile, kidnap, and the M, premeditation to the M. He not coming home at all. We just want Naziah at peace. Facts, Lady Leo, facts. They probably found semen on her underwear or pants. His lawyer said they are not fights, XA charges, but they are fights, the M. Right. I just want him to tell where she is and who all was involved, point blank. Jarvis is not smart enough to negotiate. He wasn't smart enough not to talk to the police without an attorney. I'm glad he's not smart. But see, he got an attorney that's going to advise him, Almighty Streams. Veronica, salute Veronica. Let me backtrack it and see. Did they get the stains or was it actual? Well, let's backtrack just to see. Let's backtrack this.
The ones that you focused on to send forward for further DNA testing, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and when you go through and do all of that work that you did in terms of the ALS, the IR, and then the pheno testing and the semen testing, what is the reason that you're doing that? Is it to get the best possible sample to go forward, or is it something else?
That is true, to get the best possible sample going forward, the one that would possibly have the most body fluid in it. We sent forward for DNA, and in this case, I conducted semen testing as well as the blood testing, because when the clothing was submitted, the person that received the case and had case details, it was possible sexual assault listed on the lab request form.
Okay, so that's the reason you did the semen testing?
Correct.
So I don't believe it was. I'm not sure about semen or semen stains. They said semen negative. They can definitely collect evidence of semen on clothing. Remember, Mimi found some burnt up panties in the shop. Why was they burnt? You right, Yolanda. You right. Yeah, but he already talked. Why did Shannon have so many paternity tests done? She only had 5 kids. Good point. Good questions. I'm his wife. Baby girl was too involved with him for unknown semen other than that man that worked with him. Sometimes older men will have a friend to sexual her also. Retired from DA office to confuse the case. Public defender be like, take a deal. What makes y'all think they don't have a body or remains? Just curious. Y'all do know because Kim is planning more arrests. She won't release that info to the public for flight risk purposes. I don't think they got a body. I think if they had a body, I think that would have been disclosed at the preliminary. At the preliminary, you got to come up off of evidence. And you can't come at the preliminary and say you don't got a body, but you got a body. You know what I'm talking about? That's like for everybody that feel like Naziah is alive and the state of Michigan is protecting her. You can't know that Naziah is alive, but you charging Jarvis with the M. You know, so if they have the remains, if they know where the body is, that would have had to come out in the preliminary. They said they don't have a body in the preliminary. So now they can't wait and get the trial and then come forward and say, oh, we already had the body. We've been had the body, but at the preliminary, we just said we didn't have it. So that's what I'm saying. To me, from the evidence that was revealed at the preliminary, it's not solid evidence that can link Jarvis to the M. It's not. Now, they're going to wait until the trial, and what they said at the preliminary, now when it gets to the trial, okay, in the preliminary, we don't have a body. Okay, now at the trial, they got a body. Which one is it? The defense eat that like steak and potatoes. What did the person Joe Clark threw out of class say? But why they did not just say the semen was a Jarvis match if that was it? And this is what I'm saying, Tanya. Come on. This stuff that it'll eat them alive. If they really got this on Jarvis, why not say it at that preliminary? If you ever been in a preliminary, if you ever listen to preliminary hearings, they're going to bring all this, they're going to present it at that preliminary, because at the preliminary, it's all about making that case as strong as you can get it. They ain't going to wait till the trial, because at the preliminary, it might not make it past the preliminary if that judge don't feel as though it's a strong case. Now, if they had all of this, they would have said it at that preliminary. Look, it was she would have said it. The semen test, it was Jarvis. We got a body. Where's Naziah? Woo, woo, woo. They done ran down a list of everything that they got. This getting deeper and deeper. This is crazy. At the end, let me get everybody thoughts on purple hearts for Naziah Harris. Pink hearts. I'm sorry. Pink hearts. Can I get everybody thoughts on pink hearts for Naziah? No, I'm not saying you said that, Britt. I'm not saying that you said that they had a body. I'm not saying you said that. At the end of the day, the semen would support the SA charges. Correct. And Jarvis' name would be on that. Trust me, it would be on that. Whatever they got on Jarvis, just like what did they say at the preliminary? They got his Google search engine. Just listen. Okay, we went through his search engine and we seen him Googling abort from trans antifreeze. They got that. Okay, we got the text messages between him and Nazat. They're gonna have that day. They're gonna have that day. Me either. Nobody. So did she go missing or run away? Because now they saying possible assault. They don't have a body. Nah. They not holding her body. Nope, I don't. Though they had a body at the preliminary. Correct, Shank. They have all their evidence at this point. It seemed like ain't no one but physically touching her, but butts, and they know that. But at this point, I feel like is they reaching for a narrative. Good point. Drop your link, Shank. All right, let me drop your link. Let me drop the link. And if anybody want to join me on a panel, come on and join me on a panel. I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Come on up, Britt. And anybody that want to join me, come on up. Or the grandmother or the aunt put her in the placement for him to have access to her. Salute, Debbie. It shouldn't even be a concern of flight risk if others are guilty and involved. Just go get them. I don't understand why she even made that announcement but not making the arrest. What I'm saying, Raguel, you know, 1 minute they got Jarvis, nobody else going to be arrested. Next minute, others going to be arrested. I mean, which one is it? Talk to me, Britt.
All right, so what I was saying is, no, I don't think they had a body at the preliminary. I don't think that. I know they cannot say that they don't have a body and then pop up with a body. I think that remains were found after the preliminary, which is like within maybe a couple months from before now. That's what I think. And I'm only going that route because Kim Worthy, on her press release, her most recent one, the way she was speaking, she was very cocky. And she said that she has evidence to prove that no one else besides Jarvis is the father of Naziah's baby.
That's what she
Never
said.
she never said Naziah's baby was deceased. It's only one count of unaliving. So my thing is this, the evidence, she says she has evidence to prove that this baby belongs to him.
That's what she said.
It's only two ways to get the evidence. You're going to either get the evidence from Naziah or you're going to get the evidence from a baby. That's the only way you can match DNA to Jarvis, but you have to have one of them. And then she also said that there will be more arrests coming up. She's talking so cocky that she has this in the bag. And she said this with her chest. There's gonna be more arrests. Now, you mean to tell me that you're about to arrest more people and you don't have a body? And then you also have to think, okay, so y'all saying it's nobody or whatever. Okay, let's go with that. So the family who we all, I don't want to mention any names, the family that we all think is involved, someone had a paternity test done on a baby in April of this year. Did y'all see that post?
Yes, that's true.
Who's this baby that's being tested against Jarvis Butts?
Good question. Appreciate that super sticker, Shay. Good question. Appreciate that super sticker, Charlotte.
So it's just so much little small stuff that it's like we're overlooking that's telling us really what we are thinking or what we want to know. It's just that it seems so wild and crazy because, we don't, a lot of us don't have this type of stuff going on, so it sounds like a little far-fetched, but it's possible that it is a baby. And Kim Worthy has said that it's going to be more arrests made. So you mean to tell me she's going to charge all these people with nobody? That's going to be pretty hard to prove. It's hard to prove one person did anything without a body. So now she's about to make more of us? Maybe it is a body. It wasn't one at the preliminary, but maybe it is a body now. Or remains. And then another thing that keeps getting overlooked, when I was listening to one of the people's testimonies on here, and I got one of the people interviews on here, and I got what is it called, the little number, the timestamp.
Yeah.
Someone said that the detective called and asked for dental records. That's what made me think of remains and not a body, because it's been years. So of course, if anyone was found now due to decomposition, it wouldn't be a full body anymore. It would be remains. So why would a detective call and ask for dental records if they are not testing the dental records against anyone? What are they trying to figure out with dental records? Why do you need dental records if it's not a body or remains that are so unidentifiable that you need to test with teeth instead of with blood?
Let me let Nasha come on in.
So
okay, I'm gonna go down.
Okay.
That's definitely what I was going to pinpoint on as far as her dental records. If they didn't have proper evidence that if she was pregnant, or even if it was her, that we know as a fact that either she was a deceased or still alive. How did y'all not know, or how did y'all provide us that evidence that her dental records or anything was provided
Mm,
that y'all found her if she was even still alive?
mm.
From Kim Worthy making that point of it was a baby or it was her or whatever the case may be. Because I'm still set on off as if it's one or it's two bodies.
Mm.
Now the dental records is only gonna give us one. We already know as a baby, you're not gonna get dental. You're gonna get a DNA. So I'm stuck off of you labeling it as it's okay, it's a body, and we know that she's not here, but we don't have proper. You're not providing us factual information. You're just saying that okay, we got him as a body, and there's gonna be more people that's gonna be charged in the line. We know it's gonna be Shannon and everybody else because we know they got all input into it. And by him being as mute as possible, I really feel like it's gonna be a whole lot of people come fall. It's gonna be a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely gonna be a lot. But as baby girl, I feel like she is, but I want to feel like she's not here. But they got so much evidence to know that it's more than just her, that it is the body of a baby as well with her.
I agree. And then she just threw me for a loop when she said that it's going to be more arrests. You know how hard it is to prove anything without a body for one person? And you mean to tell me that you about to make more arrests without a body? Absolutely not. It's not sticking. So that's why I said it may be a body. And it may be a baby. A premature baby that just don't have DNA testing in April.
Yeah, I
And
definitely feel like the baby was not full grown. And I feel like it was definitely a full enough evidence that could have been captured. It could have been late on their behalf, but it was definitely a lot of DNA. Going back to when they said it was something about a gender DNA from a boy and a girl or so. Going back, I don't know if it was off of somebody with either the cousin Roxy or somebody said something. It was more of a girl or so of the DNA, but I feel like she could have birthed the girl.
Mm-hmm.
She could have birthed the girl. I don't feel like it could have been Vari's daughter or so that could have been covering up for being hers. I feel like she could have had a girl. She could have.
and we
It could
all
have.
heard that interview when one of the family members came up and whispered about, I mean, the text message got leaked and said about the niece.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me let Lisa slide in. Slide in, Lisa.
Salute family. Salute Shank. I was just sitting here thinking I think I'm gonna go to the other side. I think that they may be in the process of committing the perfect crime because I mean, think about it. The children didn't go to school that day.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? I've never heard Shannon say that she talked to that girl during the day while she was at school. You know, I no other day. I think that if why would he be seen with the baby that allowed the sister to come up and then kill her?
Mm.
I really it just don't make no sense. If she called, she probably was, my stomach hurt. Now if you're in so much pain, why would you go clean a motor what is it, a garage? Why would you go there?
Mm-hmm.
If your stomach hurts so bad? I believe that they were running out of time. Now, okay, for example, if my child did football after school and it's 4 o'clock, why would I get excited? I would go straight to the football field. Cause it ain't late. You know what I'm saying? If they had a habit of going to the what is the garage?
Yeah.
The shop. Why did they get so excited at 4 something? If Went to the police, the school police, the next day. Florentine said that day. I think that they need to be ruled out by first being ruled in. I think their phones need to be pinged. I think that it was deliberate for everybody to see Jarvis with her. So the with the cousin or whatever that was with her can vouch the child. Yeah, we were together. So that all this, because it was getting too deep. You know, if how many kids Shannon got, nobody take care of. Miss Annette got children she taking care of. When they go to jail, ain't nobody take care of them children. I think that it was all planned. I think the defense team gonna drop a bomb. It's okay, which we already know Iman, because I've been S8 myself. So please don't get it twisted. I believe there's going to be okay for that semen to be on that jacket. And I could be a little bit slow. I'm not the brightest person. But how many different manners of death is there with a couple drops of blood? And only one or two of them show up real bright. If it's something like strangulation, and blood come out the eye, you still got the foam from the mouth, little things that go with it. It just does not make sense. I think that they need to be lie detected. And well, no, you're not suspects. We are ruling you out. But we try to find solutions, and it's hard to peep out the devil, because people have no problem believing in the devil, but they have a problem believing in God. They can point out the devil, but yet they doubt God.
That's deep, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Shane. I get deep sometimes from Baltimore. That's what we do. You know, and I just think that we could start by I'm about to get real deep. You hear me?
Let me welcome Shay. Let me thank Shay. Appreciate the super sticker, Shay. Go ahead and get deep on us, Lisa.
I'm saying if y'all light a cigarette and get a drink for this one. You know, if you're a shoplifter and you're not good at it, you're gonna get knocked off. A drug dealer, he's not good at it, you're gonna lose money or customers. A parent, your kids got taken from. Everything got consequences. So I'm just wondering if the start to changing this, when back up, police officers, they don't do. That's why they got the body cam. That's why they got security cameras in the stores. That's why they got CPS. But stop saying CPS failed us. How about giving real consequences? And then the next time, I bet they'll pay attention to cover their ass and their job and their reputation. Stop saying CPS failed us. No, we about to fail him or her. And you know, you got 3 times. No. How about using them that they make examples out of? How about making them an example? I believe we'll get better results, because cases got different names, different situations, but the only thing they have in common, 2 things: the baby is unalive, and CPS failed them. I believe that's a start. I could be wrong, because Shannon is too much on mute, and Jarvis is he not the brightest. I understand that, but I said I'm going to the other side. I'm gonna speak fast. I'm gonna go on the other side. When I look at that man, I don't know what that would look like. I see a sad person who had to be involved with killing that baby. He loved making babies. I believe that she did tell her son was hurting, and they had to do something immediately. Well, I'm gonna go get it from the shop. Just a stupid plan, and you ping them phones to see if they was near them when them damn clothes were dropped off. That a couple drops of blood. What? It's not making sense. And I think they're gonna drop a bomb that's gonna clear Jarvis, and then Shannon still be able to have her children at home with her. Miss Annette still be able to be bougie. And that baby. My God. That angel is going to get some type of justice. Because I'm going to go to the other side again. I think Jarvis is just a co-defendant. Because we know home, we black. And I don't care who you are. When we find out what you did, we coming for you. And Shannon's not coming for him. Miss Annette's not coming for him. There's a reason why. Amen, Shank. I got deep. Didn't I tell the truth? Didn't I get deep? That's what I do. I went to college for that. I went to college for getting deep, Shank.
Can I add something though?
Yes, ma'am.
When you had said, I think it's different in different parts as far as like offenders of being accepted and nobody, like how Shannon is just like, she's not saying anything. I think it's different because where I'm from, if you are an offender and it's known that you're an offender, you can't even walk to the corner store. Nobody's, it's like a stain on you if you mess with a child. So I think that with Shannon's world, it's so deep in their family that she don't give a damn about the offender because she's an offender.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But listen to this. You talking about, close your eyes and see this. Your niece, you got 6 children. Your niece walking around with your baby daddy, baby in her. You know how many people gonna go down when that baby come to life? And your mental is messed up because she in love. And he too suave.
But then you gotta understand their mental is different than a normal person mental. We see that as disgusting. This is their normal.
Yes,
incest is running all through their family.
Yes, ma'am. And don't you think that their mental state is so low that they come with a plan that don't even work right? They've been they say he don't clean the house and all that. He's been around for 6 goddamn children.
Yep.
And for her son to be hurting like that, why would she call her during the day? And what she say? And they took her phone, so she wouldn't have a phone. She called on a computer laptop, something like that. She said, "Well, what you doing? We'll go back and do some work." She said, "I'm on break." She told me, "My stomach hurts." Something ain't right, y'all. Something ain't right. And what y'all think about the CPS thing I was talking about? Do you think they should stop saying expel this and start make an example out of somebody before it's too late?
Hopefully this case start opening up something that's going on in CPS. That's why it's important that everybody spread the word and we do talk about stuff like this, because that's the only way we're going to get change.
Amen. Amen.
CPS in all of our cities should not be so relaxed and it shouldn't be like that. But that's because nobody has started suing their cities.
Yes, ma'am.
For failing their children. Because, cities, they don't like to pay out millions of dollars.
Has anybody know where CPS really got consequences? Really got consequences for okay, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It hasn't happened. And that's why we gotta talk about things like this, no matter how uncomfortable it makes people, because we need change.
Girl, you better preach. You better preach. You better preach. You may tell me it never has.
I've never heard of it.
That's because they never heard of Shank. Shank gonna do some, and Miss Parker, they gonna do some cooking.
Yeah, but we gotta start bringing awareness to these people that's failing. Like, who can you go to if you can't go to Child Protective Services to get your child protected?
Nobody but God.
Who can you go to?
Nobody but God. Nobody but God. Nobody but God. My God. My God.
And those social workers are in there. They're making great money and doing absolutely nothing.
Shank, I got like 3 minutes. Sidebar. I haven't. I gotta say. I never told my other brother. And he called my phone about 2-3 weeks ago. And I said, I'm great. I'm going to text you something. And I text him the link to the episode. And I say, go to my truth and listen to that. And y'all know I never heard from my brother. And I'm afraid. I'm so afraid to call him. Because I don't want nobody to say I'm lying. I don't want. I'm worried so bad. I don't want to. I'm gonna give him space, but I kind of need closure on his opinion. But why? For what reasons wouldn't he call me back? I just want to say it out loud and try to get some feedback from people who know what I'm going through, because I hadn't talked to my brother at my sister party, but in so long, and I think I didn't say nothing. I said, I'm going to see this link. I didn't want to tell him, and then I wrote my brother's name underneath of it. Never heard nothing from him back. So y'all think I should call him or just give him a space?
Give him a space.
Yes, sir.
Give him a space. Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Angie Horn? Can I get everybody to throw up some prayer hands for Angie Horn? We're praying for you, Angie. Y'all will give him some
drop down.
Okay, Britt. Any last words? Any last words?
Okay, I do have one little last word. I'm gonna have one question. I'm gonna have a question for you. If you were in, I don't even want to disrespect like that, but if you were in Jarvis' situation and you knew this baby was alive and your life is on the line, would you just say, yeah, she's alive, so you can get that charge dropped?
If I was in Jarvis' situation, I'm gonna take my charge, but whatever charge ain't mine, I'm gonna tell whoever charge it is, take your charge. And if they don't take their charge, I'm gonna make sure I tell, you know what I mean? Because I can take mine. And this is the model that I grew up on when we would get down. Take your charge. If whatever charge is yours, if it's your pistol, take that pistol. If it's your dope, take that dope. If it's your robbery, whatever charge, take your charge. So for me, I would stand on my SA charges. Look, give them to me. I done that. That's me. But that over there, that ain't me.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. I'm just asking because you know how people are saying that Naziah is alive. But if Naziah was alive, it seems like Jarvis would say she's alive. So he can come, so he can get that charge dropped. You're talking about life here, you know?
I think in the beginning, Jarvis was concerned about his kids being taken. And it's just my opinion. I think that's why Jarvis didn't speak in the beginning. Because it was either, if I tell on Shannon, my kid's going to be taken. I think that's why Jarvis didn't come clean in the beginning. But if you look at Jarvis, you can see he wants to say something. He wants to tell something. But now with CPS intervening, I think Jarvis coming up off of what happened. I think he's going to come up off of what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. And then another thing, I was just looking at Jarvis' history. He's a monster. Granted, we know this. He likes kids. He is sick. But one thing is that, is he an unaliver? He had plenty of opportunities of things going wrong, especially with that 4-year-old. If he was an unaliver, it just don't seem like something is not right with this.
I don't, and I'm with you. That's like, okay, I might be a dope dealer, right? Yeah. Now they might get me. I might get caught in a raid. The house might got raided, and they got dope. They got pistols. Now, the dope, I'm gonna take the dope charge. The dope that was found in there is my dope. But now, my folks, you know, they got to take them pistol charges that belong to them. You know, the house might be in my name. The apartment might be in my name. Mm-hmm. But my people live with me. So now I don't know these pistols in this house. But my folks know these pistols is in his house. See, it's all about taking your charge. Jarvis is going to take his charge. He's going to take whatever his is. But he ain't going to take that unaliving because that's not his charge.
I agree. We'll see. But all right, everyone, have a good evening. That was my last thing. Yep,
Appreciate
I
you,
believe I covered
Britt.
everything. All right.
All right. Any last words before we get out of here, Lisa?
Yeah, I just want to say that he's a repeat offender, so I believe they have to be able to offer him a high enough sentence to whereas he can think about accepting it under the conditions that he say where Naziah is, and that could be what they need to do, because we find out when Naziah he go to jail, and if he says Naziah is somewhere having to do with Shannon or Miss Annette, we'll know. If it's something to do with the trafficking, we'll know. It's just in my opinion, a win-win situation, because there has to be closure to this. Period. There has to be closure to this. And I just want to say, Lord, we come to you right now and praying for Angie. I know you're listening, because we're 1 and 2 in the midst. So are you. You are awesome. You are wonderful. And she needs you right now, Lord. Right now. Right now, Lord. In your heavenly name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that prayer.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. I'm so proud of you. I said it like 10 times. I'm so proud of you. You represented when you went there. You did.
I do it for the people. I do it from the bottom of my heart. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a YouTuber for real, because I keep checking in, because I don't want to miss a notification of them. I keep checking in, make sure they notify me so I won't miss y'all. But since I got here, I'm a stick and stay. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. And I'm out of here.
I appreciate you, Lisa.
Goodbye, Shank. Appreciate you.
All right. I appreciate everybody for pulling up with the evidence. That the state of Michigan has. Still nobody. Now, Britt did make a good point. She made a good observation. She said, Shank, they may not have the body during the preliminary, but they could have the body now. And I think that's a good point. So maybe they do have the body or the remains of Naziah. Maybe they have them now. All right. But this trial is coming up in October. A hearing is coming up next month. Appreciate your membership to the channel, Miss Five. So it's going to be very interesting. And for all those people that live in Detroit, if you can make it out to the hearing that's coming up in June, please do so. But go in support of Naziah Harris and her family. Go in for support of Naziah Harris and her family. Naziah Harris was failed by some of her family members. She was failed. But it's time for us to stand with this child and help get justice for this child. For those that are responsible for Naziah's death, do the right thing. Do the right thing. Understand what you've done was wrong and just do the right thing. Because you can run, but you can't hide. Appreciate the new membership, Shay. Appreciate everybody's support for the channel. Salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running and you all can hang around. And make sure y'all check out Miss Parker's Switching Lane. I'm going to call you out, Miss Parker. Miss Parker is holding, switching lanes up. I keep telling Miss Parker, we got to film. So I need for my rock squad and I need for the riders to get on Miss Parker and let Miss Parker know, Miss Parker, now you know y'all got to get those switching lane episodes. Miss Parker. All right. Make sure y'all get on Miss Parker about filming these switching lanes episode, because the riders, the rock squad, and everybody else, they want to see Miss Parker's switching lane episodes. Salute everybody. I'll leave the chat running and you all can hang around. Salute everybody. Appreciate you. But I don't want to do this no more, Miss Parker.
What? You don't want to do this shit no more, nigga?
You're not listening to me, Miss Parker. And you know, with the demonstration that I've done, we gotta agree to disagree.
The fuck you thought? We was going back to the mud with this shit? Huh? It's part of life for you. It's part of the pussy for me.
All right, Miss Parker.
But at the same time, we need to know where you got that information from, because
From
my
the
partner didn't
street.
do nothing like that.
From the street.
Nah.
The streets be talking. That's right.
And why would you bring this up right now, TT, knowing that Miss
She
Parker's going
asked
through her
me.
situation?
She called and asked me. I didn't bring it up. She called and asked me, and I'm a real friend, so I'm gonna tell the truth about it. So
well, then
niggas
tell the
don't
whole
come trying
truth
to
then,
check
TT.
me about it. It's what the
Tell
whole
the whole
truth
truth
I
is.
thought you was being my friend through my
Of course
situation.
I'm being your friend.
Not put it on knowledge. I can't
That's what
believe
they
you
are
saying
saying.
it.
That's what they are saying, not me. That's what they're saying. I'm
Who
telling
is
you
they,
what they're
TT?
saying.
Who is they?
The streets, nigga. The streets.
Okay, I'm on my way out to where you at, okay?
Okay.
You make sure them niggas in the streets know I'm on my way out there.
The streets take care of the streets.
All right, then.
Wait. Why is it so dark in here? I can't feel my legs. Why can't I feel my arms? What's happening?
Dice, I need you, man.
Don't call my real phone with that bullshit, my nigga.
I need to get out of town, man.
Goddamn, dog.
Yeah, everything's shut down. Dry clean's closed. Everything.
What's good? What? The fuck you mean the trap got busted? What? Yo, what? So is there eyes on Knowledge? Anybody see Knowledge? How the fuck did they lose them? Like a bitch can't even go shopping. It's always bad news on your hand. Like, it's almost like I gotta cut you the fuck short. No, I haven't. No eyes on Wisdom yet. I mean, all the damage that Knowledge did. What the fuck? Yeah, sent them straight underground. Man, I only got so much more laundry to pass out. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Man, get them niggas back on Knowledge's motherfucking neck, or it's gonna be yours. Now don't. Nah, I'm good. I'll worry about Wisdom. Yeah. Man, get them niggas the fuck up out of there. Fuck off my line. I gotta switch lanes on these motherfuckers.
Switching lanes, y'all. Miss Parker, coming soon. Angie, are you okay? Are you okay? Miss Parker, Top Flight, and the Riders, can y'all reach out to Angie? Can y'all reach out to Angie? We praying for you, Angie. We praying for you, Angie. All right. Miss Parker and Top Flight and the Riders will be reaching out to you, Angie. We praying for you. Salute everybody.
I like to place an order. Yeah. Hey, let me get the chicken box and a half and half. All right, good looking out. Tinted window screaming after law out my mouth. I'm switching lanes from up north to down south.
So what's up with your knowledge? Girl, knowledge been switching lanes on me. He keeps coming to me with conversations about he's ready to get up out of the game and doing what he does for us. Like he's ready to start working a 9-to-5. And the bad part about it is he took me from a 9-to-5 barely making minimum wage. And for him to think I'm ever going back to that lifestyle, he better figure it out, because I'm going to make sure the ball stays in my court. Mm-hmm.
Show a lot of love, man. I don't seem to get it back, you know? Nigga BG told me, if you fake, you phony. Yeah, people, yo, was still for the money. Fake like they love you, then they kill you for the money. People turn snake for the money. Women fake like they love you. Suckers hate cause of money. Fuck friends is his business when they come to dough. You gotta watch you do what niggas greedy on the low. Everybody won't be stars, but they shine as them. No matter what position you play, lost your team win. Girl, you love me. You love that shit I did. You know I was broke, bitch. I give you a place to live. Talk.
What's up? Look like you saw a ghost.
No. What's up?
What's good with you?
What's going on?
You look a little shook.
What you doing here? It's always good to see you, man. Come on. What's up?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Come on, have a seat.
Right. Well, I need you to keep the dry cleaners food until I come back.